What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30, and the offer ends at the end of March. Anyways, as far as Tesla's going, as you guys can tell, we're making lower highs right now. Not looking too good. We tried to bounce towards this 233 area, but we haven't been able to hold above this so far. So we're stuck between 233 and 230. So give this some time. But there's going to be a risk of us dipping even more if things do not end up working out. So what do I see for the market from this point on? What is my personal opinion? Well, honestly, at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's when we're going to be looking for a bigger move because we have the interest rate decision coming out, which might cause some volatility. There's about a 99% chance the Fed's going to keep rates the same. So we're not really expecting that to affect us as much. But the economic projections report is going to be very huge because the Fed will give us insights about what rates will look like 1 year out, 2 years out, and for the longer term. And that's going to be important because if they expect to cut more than before, that could be a little bit better. If they expect rates to be the same, that's going to be okay. And if they expect to cut less, that's going to be not the best for the markets. So get ready, guys. We'll see what this data leads to. When it comes to Tesla, however, I just want to mention that in terms of shorting, there was a lot of shorting that happened as Tesla hit its all-time high around the December period. But then since then, we've been seeing a little bit less shorting. It's been going down just a bit. But despite that, it still is shorted quite a bit as we have about 67 million shares in the current short interest. So I want to give you guys an update on this. I think I will continue to give you guys more updates about that data. But that's what we're seeing so far. We'll see if short sellers try to pile back into Tesla if we end up seeing like a big reaction, and we'll see what the reaction is after FOMC. So we're going to be very patient for now. But other sources are confirming this. We have 67 million shares shorted, at least from the latest reports. So keep that in mind. Anyways, now let's just talk about the share price. What do I see at least from this point on? Well, like I said before, we're just range bound, right? We tried to push to about 233, came back down exactly as I predicted. We're stuck between 230 and 233 for now. Now we're waiting for the interest rates decision and then the economic projections reports. If we get a bearish move, we could be looking for a dump back down towards these lows, back down to 215. If 230 fails us, if we get back above 237, we could push towards this trend line, back up towards 244, and we'll see if we break past that or not. Overall, we're making lower highs, so we want to be very, very careful, but just know that we're still in a range. Another factor is going to be Jerome Powell. So there's actually three main factors: the decision that's coming out, then the economic projections report, and Jerome Powell. So honestly, guys, I can't make any promises at this point. As day traders, it's our job to be able to manage risks and be ready for the risks that are coming up. So please be very careful as time goes on, and we'll see how it goes. For SPY, we're trying to uptrend here. We want to see if this can break past 565. If that breaks, we're looking for an attempt to push higher for about 560, 566.5 as well. And eventually 569 is coming. If we end up losing 562.5, we could be dipping closer to 560. For now, we're stuck between 560 and 565, kind of going back and forth. I'm not really expecting too much for the time being, but get ready for the economic projections report and what Jerome Powell says. Will the market launch higher? Will we see SPY break past 569 and start pumping? Or do we get a big rug pull back down to fill this gap down here? So if we can't hold 560, we're going to be at risk of returning to 555. If we get back above 569, I do expect 575. It all depends on what we end up seeing from the Fed. So get ready, guys. There's a possible inverse hand shoulder setup, but we'll see if this is a trap or not. So keep that in mind. For the QQQ, we have the same thing going on. We have a potential inverse hand and shoulders. I want to see it break past 485 to be bullish. If we lose 474, we could turn back down. Otherwise, we're still kind of stuck in the middle. We're currently trading between 480 and 475, going back and forth for now. So I do expect that to continue. But we'll see what happens once we get our very important data. For the Russell 2000, I want to see this break 205.5 to break out. We're trying to fill this gap right here. If we end up losing 203, we could turn back down, but we do have a nice accumulation, and this could try to push more. So we'll give this the time it needs as time goes on. For ES, we also have an inverse head and shoulders. If we start breaking past 57.25, we could be looking for a bigger pump towards 57.50, then 5800. If we end up losing 56.50, we could turn back down. So we're kind of stuck in between these ranges. There's an inverse head and shoulders here, and I think that the structure looks quite good on ES, but give this the time it needs, especially as time progresses. Is there upside potential? The answer is yes. I could be looking for a breakout higher if this setup ends up panning out. But it's not a guarantee. Nothing is guaranteed in the markets despite this setup. It all depends on what Jerome Powell, the big guy, has to say. So keep that in mind. Same thing with NQ. We have an inverse head and shoulders like structured, just like a left shoulder. This is like the head and then the right shoulder. I want to see it break 20,000 to have hope for bulls. If we end up losing 19,500, we could turn back down. It all depends on the Jerome Powell's speech and what happens with the Fed. Bitcoin could pump all the way up towards 88,000 if we get a big break above 85,000. But if we end up losing 82,000, we could turn back down. So we'll see how this goes. So please be very patient nonetheless. For Nvidia, we also happen to have a nice inverse head and shoulders here. If we break past 118, we're looking for a push for essentially 123. If we end up losing 115, we could turn back down towards 109. So it could go either way. Please watch this very, very closely, especially as we're seeing some more buyers trying to step in. This is a nice setup, but we need confirmation of a break past 120 for this to really go. So keep that in mind as we're still technically range bound. Apple's showing some life. I think we had some good news that came out. We got a nice price target increase. I think a lawsuit's dropped. Anyways, we're going to be looking for an attempt to break past 215. If that's the case, I think 220 is coming. As long as we don't lose 212, we're going to be completely fine. For Coinbase, we're looking pretty good right here, forming a nice base, but I want to see us try to break and hold above 186 to remain bullish. We're barely holding it right now. If we can't hold it, we could be dipping to fill this gap back down to 181. So we'll see how it goes. Amazon's looking like it's stuck in the middle. If we break past 195, we're looking for essentially 200. If we end up losing 191, we could turn back down. So we'll see if this holds, especially off this bullish divergence. So give that some time. As far as Meta goes, we've been making lower highs. I want to see us get back above 597. If that's the case, we're looking for the 600s. And if we end up dipping back down, we could be looking for a dip back down to about 575. For Microsoft, we have a nice bullish divergence. If we end up breaking past 388, we're looking for essentially 392. If we end up losing 382, we could turn back down, so we'll give that some time. Google also has a bullish divergence. We'll see if we break past 165 to get up to 169. But overall, it all depends on the Fed. The VIX so far, the VIX is right here. The VIX has been rejecting a bit, but it really depends, guys. Nothing's guaranteed quite yet. Will the VIX end up seeing a big bounce like this? Will it retest this wedge and then just like bounce as the market turns bearish? Or is the VIX about to reject? So far, it has not been able to hold above its 50 EMA. And is this going to continue to fall to about 19.5 in lower levels as the market pumps? It could go either way. So I'm just here to give you guys a warning about this market. Please heed my warning and get ready for a lot of volatility. I thank you all so much for listening. The market is showing some resilience, but anything could happen with FOMC. So the best thing I can tell you is just be patient and we'll see how it goes. So get ready for the economic projections report. We'll see if this causes a rug pull or not. And then don't forget about Jerome Powell's speech. He's going to cause a lot more volatility. And so I'll see you guys again. I thank you all so much for listening. Have a good one and peace out.